sustaining it is a different realm. So like longevity in business is like their ability to make effective decisions, not necessarily quickly but efficiently. Growth gang, welcome back to another growth talk. Today I'd like to talk about decision making, or more importantly, making effective decisions efficiently. We're all faced with decisions on a day-to-day basis. Some of us more important decisions than others, but honestly I find that when we're making decisions, at least in the realm for ourselves, like it's always relative. um it's a different dynamic though when you're making decisions that are going to affect other people. So, like if you're in a managerial position, you own a business, you're an entrepreneur, like if you have subordinates in any way that you are subordinates, sorry, like subordinates just means like somebody under you, like somebody that you manage. Um, is like if you're making decisions that affect other people, especially in the operations of their work and stuff, like you have to be a good decision maker. I've met people that are horrible at making decisions, and usually they're horrible at making decisions, but they definitely believe that they're not. Like they think that they're that they're really good at making decisions. I guess is the easiest way to wrap that up. But not all decisions are equal, and like you definitely get better at making decisions over time. Some people are naturally inclined to be better decision makers. That's why they're put in the positions that they're put in, whether that's a managerial position or they've self opted to be an entrepreneur, run a business, or something, because like they're just good decision makers. Like that's like one of the that's one of the biggest tell signs for like if somebody's gonna have not so much success but longevity. Like you can trick yourself into success. Like sustaining it is a different realm. So like longevity in business is like their ability to make effective decisions, not necessarily quickly but efficiently. Like quickly is specific to like just time. Like like you know, I mean, doing something quickly is it's just relative to the speed. Efficiently is a little bit wider spectrum because like it encompasses different different parameters and different factors. Like it's not just speed. Like maybe the most efficient way to do something is very slow. So like speed or velocity, like that doesn't necessarily have a direct correlation, but effective decision making is like is ultimately what you want to aim for. Or sorry, effective and efficient decision making. Like just because you make decisions quickly doesn't necessarily mean that they're the most effective decisions or that they're the most efficient decisions. Like they're two different things. Like so, like I aim to make my decisions at, as much as possible, as effectively as possible, and efficiently as possible. I'm an efficiency junkie. Like I'm always trying to find the way to boil down the process to the most efficient way of doing it. Always like that. I love it honestly. So but yeah, like when it comes to making the decisions, like you need to be you need to be pretty quick at collecting the data that it's going to take to make an effective decision. Like you need to have all of the parameters that are currently available at your disposal when it comes to making a decision. Like you're not always going to make the right decision, but you want to hope to make the most effective and efficient decision possible. Like there's not it's almost impossible for you know what I mean every situation to end where everybody's a winner, where it's advantageous to everybody involved. There's usually a contrast point. There's a winner and there's a loser. Um, so like you need to understand like how to efficiently collect that data and assemble all of the data points that you need to be able to, you know what I mean, to make an effective decision. Like effective meaning, you know what I mean, like advantageous as possible to everybody involved. Like there's always going to be a winner and a loser. There's always a contrast point when there's a decision to be made. When there's a decision, aka a fork in the road, like you either go right or you go left. Um, Now, in my last talk, we talked about fear and like the inertia and the anxiety around making a decision when there's fear involved. A lot of the time, like if you care about what it is that you're making a decision around, like that fear signal is going to come up. So, like it, but you don't want to make decisions from a place of fear. Sorry, I kind of losing my train of thought there, but like you don't want to make decisions from a place of fear, but you do. I lost my train of thought. You do want to. How do I get back to this? Like, there's always going to be a winner and a loser. There's always going to be a contrast point, but you just got to make sure that like the person who's losing like isn't, you know what I mean, a complete write off, and the person that's winning it isn't like such an unfair advantage in contrast to the person that lost. Um, but like that comes down to the type of decisions. There's a multitude of decisions across, you know what I mean, such a wide spectrum that like, you know what I mean, like there's different types of decisions that you're going to be faced with. You're going to have personal decisions, you're going to have relationship decisions, you're going to have business decisions, and they all need to be handled a little bit differently. But one of the most effective and efficient ways of streamlining my decision making process as of late is to be constantly aware of and reassessing my core values and principles, because it's going to help me in the data collection like understand like what the most advantageous outcome is going to be, like what is the most effective decision to make here. And geez, I keep losing my train of thought. um Trying to reel it back in. So like you sorry, so like you need to be better at collecting the data, but like you also like you need to be confident in yourself and in your processes and your ability to collect all of the data that's available to you to make that decision. And then also making sure, you know, that you arrive at the decision efficiently, but that it's an effective decision, because the more that you can stand on past decisions that resulted in being the most effective decision, the right decision, the more that you do that, the more consistently that you do that, like the more confidence that you start to build over time in your ability to make quicker decisions, or as like I like to say, efficient. I think quick could be put in a different container than it necessarily needs to be for what I'm talking about. It's efficient. Like you need to streamline it, but efficient means like as fast and effective as possible, almost like. So like you really you have to build that consistency and that trust in yourself, that confidence over landing at the most effective decision, over, you know what I mean, repping it out. Like the more that you land at the right decision, that you walk away confident that you've made the right choice and it ultimately yields the result that you were hoping the choice would make. Like you start to make choices faster. You start to close that gap, like between the stimulus and your decision. It's like, okay, like you process the data faster. You have more belief in your capabilities to do so. Like it all becomes more efficient, and like that's through consistency. Like consistency is always going to amplify whatever it is that you're doing. Like it's going to make it so that like there's less unknowns, there's less thinking, there's less processes, like, and you'll be able to land at decisions a lot faster. The reason that I chose to do this topic today is like I'm faced with a really big decision. Like I've come up to a fork in the road in my business trajectory. My business is more like it's not just about making money anymore. Like I ran construction companies. I mean, across various industries and different sectors, have had success in the form of finance, money. I'm now at a place in my life where like I'm just trying to expand on my ability to be of deeper service to others, and like I just know that like through the laws of the universe that those efforts are going to be reciprocated, and because of my ability to put, you know what I mean, proper like proper monetization strategies and everything around what I do, it's almost on autopilot. Like I am inevitably making money doing what I love to do, and like that's a really sweet spot for me. Like it really is. Like I spent a lot of time figuring out businesses and operations and ways of doing things that I had zero passion in. And now, like I've heard Andrew Tate say, like if all you do is pursue your passions, like you'll likely just be broke for the rest of your life. And like that's true, because I would have never been able to get to a place where I can effortlessly and almost unconsciously, like in the form of the effortlessness, monetize my craft and my service and expand on that. So, but that came from operating all of these different businesses in different industries, in different sectors, and understanding how to put together, you know what I mean, like monetization, like how to monetize something, you know what I mean, like all of the moving parts across everything else that I did has a direct correlation and fed into my ability to make it so that if it's not passion, it's nothing. Like I used to say, if it's not passion, it's passive. Now, like I do still have interests in business, you know what I mean, that are 100% passive for me. Like unless I actually want to interject myself, I don't even have to interact with that business at all for it to pay me. So like that is 100% passive income. I used to really preach that. If it wasn't passive, then it's got to be passion, because like to really get great at something, and in the market that we live in, like you really do have to get great at something to acquire a sizable market share to actually have like a denotable financial success. So keep losing, like I don't know, laugh with me guys, like let's just giggle about it. Like I keep having brain farts, and that's okay, because like once I get 3 or 4 talks into this, like this is the second talk that I've done after a 4-month hiatus. So like once I'm 3 or 4 talks in, you know what I mean, like I stop losing my train of thought. It's actually really difficult to not have a feedback loop. Like it's different. Like if I had somebody sitting here having a conversation with me, well, we it's a feedback loop. We feed off of one another, and it perpetuates the cycle of the conversation. It's actually not that easy to sit here for 45 minutes and just freestyle about a specific topic, and keep track of everything that I'm trying to articulate in the moments in my head. Like it does become very difficult to process. So just got to giggle at myself every once in a while. Let's just circle back. I'm gonna get into the Q&A. I posted a Q&A in my stories. If you don't follow me on Instagram, then you can't contribute a question to the story, because this is currently the format in which I extract the questions. Is like I post a Q&A about the topic that I'm going to cover in the growth talk 24 hours before I do it, and then I'll pick 5 answers from the Q&A in my Instagram stories. So if you're not following me on Instagram, then you can't partake in that. So it's I am Coach Dash. So IAMCOACHDASH, and that's actually now my backup account. The main account has another I on the front of it, so it's 2 I's. IIAM. So if you go follow me there, um, you can definitely contribute to the Q&As. It opens up a wider spectrum um, for me to contemplate when it comes to a topic, and it's going to extract more information out of me that I may not consciously articulate in the moment. So I love doing the Q&As. So today, the first question was, how can I make decisions more confidently without second guessing myself? This comes from building trust in yourself. Like, it's through repetition that you establish more confidence in the decisions that you make. Like, honestly, like you have to build that trust and that confidence in yourself so that you're not second guessing yourself. And that's where I was getting into, was the core values and principles. Nowadays, that is how I make my decisions. They are based off of my core values and principles, which I'm constantly assessing and adjusting. I'm going to do a topic specific to core values and principles and how to construct them, how to constantly be assessing and evolving them along as you evolve. But making decisions based off of core values and principles makes it so much easier, because like, it partitions off the data needed to make the decisions into the profit and losses column automatically, because like, I can earmark, you know what I mean, if it's a positive or it's a fucking negative factor when it comes to making the decision based off of the overall core values and principles that I operate from. So I'm glad that came back to the surface, to the frontal lobe there, because that's very important. Like, if you don't have core values or principles, or you don't even understand what the fuck having core values or principles are, you might want to Google it, because it's very important. Like, I believe that human beings as a whole, but men especially, should be formulating their lives by core values and principles. Like, so I now make principled decisions. So like I said, like, it you know what I mean, when the data is coming in that I need to interpret to make a decision, well, it already partitions it off into the positive and the negative, or the profit and the loss column when I'm making my decision, because I make decisions based off of my personal core values and principles. Now, when it comes to like my business, like especially my coaching practice, like there's a basically about this, they're very kindred, but slightly different core values and principles around the operation of the business, like the mission statement and like the core operations of the business are formulated off of the core values and principles of the business, which are, you know what I mean, obviously like a little bit of an offshoot of my own personal ones. It's my business. Like I always get a little bit of a laugh when people say business is personal. It's like, well, as long as business is conducted by persons, business is gonna be personal. I wish my brother Matthew would see that. That's like a little bit of an inside joke. Like, as long as business is operated by persons, business is always gonna be personal. I put my personal money into my business, and now my business is personal. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna get into the second question. What strategies can I use to avoid analysis paralysis when making choices? Core values and principles definitely helps to motivate you, you know what I mean, to the right or the left of the fork in the road. But understanding the data and like what's the, you know what I mean, like what's the KPIs around it? Like, you need to collect your data. You need to be able to, you know what I mean, the core values and principles obviously help streamline that process, like I just said, where, you know what I mean, it sorts it for you into the profit and losses columns. But yeah, like I don't know. The analysis paralysis, like that, essentially is getting stuck in the reviewing the data. Now, I've said it before. I'll say it again, and I don't know how many fucking guys I know. I call it education masturbation. YouTube don't block this video. Um, it's like they're just they're staying busy. They're busy being busy collecting information, and they've gone way too far. Like now they have too much information that's leading to indecision. Like they've gone too far. But it comes down to your systems. It comes down to the core values and principles. You know what I mean? Helping you to get to siphon through the data and understanding the effective and efficiency parameters around it. It's like if you're spending too long making a decision, well, it's not going to be an efficient decision. And if you took too long to land at your decision, well, then it may not be an effective decision, because like you may have stayed in that analysis paralysis for too long, and now the decision that you're going to make isn't even going to have the same validity that if you had made it more efficiently or more quickly, like, more time sensitive. Like the information, the analysis paralysis, it comes down to not having confidence in yourself and not having streamlined systems to interpret the data as it comes in. Like if there's information that needs to be interpreted in order to make the decision, like you need to move through it quickly. And you know what I mean, that comes from study too. Like if you have a better understanding around the specific utilities and mechanisms and moving parts, you know, adjacent to the thing, and you understand the operations of it more and stuff, well, interpreting that data is going to happen a lot faster. Therefore, you're going to make a more efficient decision, which generally is going to be more effective. Number 3, how do I know if I'm making the right decision? You don't. Like, obviously, you know what I mean? Like, if the decision is going to lead to it yielding a result, well, you know what I mean? The key performance indicators around the whether the result that you yielded from your decision was denoted as a success or not. Like, I don't know. Like, you never know if you're going to make the right decision. You just have to be constantly bettering yourself and expanding your consciousness and your awareness and your skill sets around what it is that you do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if the majority of the decisions that you make are specific to one thing, well, the better that you get at that thing, the better that you'll be at making decisions. So, like, it really comes down to, you know what I mean? Like, expanding on your skill sets and becoming a student of whatever it is that you make decisions around predominantly. Now, mind you, this video isn't for everybody. Like, if you just go to work and, you know what I mean, like, stuff like that, like, you may not have to make very many decisions in a day that actually, like, have a huge cause and effect. You know, like, I know guys that don't even make any decisions in a day. Literally just walking around on autopilot. Like, if you actually force them into a place where they needed to make a decision, like they don't even fucking know how. They're just robots walking around on autopilot. But this video is not for them. This video is for me and you. It's for the people that, you know what I mean, captains of the industry, the guys that are shakers and movers out here, you know what I mean, making it happen. Well, we make a lot of decisions. So the better that you can get at making, the more effective and the more efficient that you can get at making those decisions, ultimately, you know, the better that everything's going to be. Like, I hate living in the stress of indecision. Like, that panicked feeling of, like, not knowing what side to land on. I hate that fucking feeling. So as a result, have become so much better at getting myself out of that feeling. And to get myself out of that feeling, I need to land at the most effective and efficient decisions that I can make the majority of the time. That's the key. So, right decision. Can you share techniques for making quick decisions in high pressure situations? I believe I already have. I covered that in the core values and principles. Um, it's like you're gonna like, especially in a high pressure situation, like if you're making a principle based decision, it's going to be so much easier to land that quickly. And like I said, like, it streamlines the process. Like the data is now placed in its appropriate containers. It can be sorted out so much easier, and therefore you make the decision a lot faster, or a lot more a more effective decision more efficiently. um, really, like that's it. There's no better way to do it. You get better at processing the information. That's it. Number 5. So this is the final question. What role do my core values play in the decision making process? So, like, when you're making a decision that is based off of your principles and values, like, not all of the data needs to be interpreted, because, like, when you're operating from, like, core values and principles, like, it's almost biased. Like, you now are objectively making biased opinions, because, like, they're formulated off of core values and principles. It's not objective to just the data. I think that's probably a really great way of saying it. Is, like, it makes it so that, like, it's not only objectively about all of the data, because some of the data may be completely useless or irrelevant because it doesn't align with your core values and principles. So, like, it just really streamlines things. And, like, your core values and principles, like I said, like, you're constantly, like, assessing and tweaking them and stuff. But, like, for the most part, they're fairly consistent. Like, the changes in your core values and principles, like, aren't, you know what I mean? Like, you're not moving mountains. Like, they're micro changes. They're micro evolutions. You know what I mean? As you expand your consciousness through expanding your awareness, like, there are naturally going to be slight evolutions and little aha moments when it comes to your core values and principles. But for the most part, like, they don't really change. Like, not any sizable changes anyways. So, like, that really, like, that makes a huge fucking difference. Like, because it makes it so that when you're making decisions that are in alignment with your core values and principles, like, you're making a more, like, your decisions are more consistent, because the collection and disbursement of the data to the appropriate sides of the P&L there is streamlined by your core values and principles. So it just makes it so much more faster, and, like, a more consistent metric of measure when weighing out the data. Like, your like, your core values and principles basically become your KPI, like, it's your key performance indicators. Yeah, but so that's the 5th one. Little giggle at myself again. Like, I can't wait, like, where I get into that flow state and, like, my brain is just firing, because, like, I truly love it. Like, I feel so powerful, so fulfilled, and so in flow and of service. Like, when I get this right, I love it, honestly. Like, I've actually made the decision that the trajectory that I'm moving into with my coaching business is going to be more podcast based. I'm going to do more growth talks, and my coaching is going to move into more of like a community, like with growth gang. Like, so rather than necessarily doing like one-to-one coaching, I still will do one-to-one coaching. I'll just be a little bit more picky about who it is that I allow into my coaching containers, because when you care about your clients, like, you have to be a little bit more picky about who you allow in, because like it could like a bad client into your coaching container could literally poison the well to the point where like you don't even want to be a coach anymore. So like you do have to be careful. Like in the beginning, like it's just, oh, I want a client, I gotta get a client. Like, so you're not even thinking about the type of client that you're looking to attract. You should damn near take anybody that'll cut you a check. But then like you do get into a better place down the road a little bit once you start to experience more financial freedom and attaching the core values and principles and standards to your business operations. Is like I just had a fucking brain fart again. I don't know. Anyways, I made the decision to get in front of the camera today, even though I'm not feeling up to it. Like I said, like I can't wait to get to that place of flow and power. Like, I truly love that. Like, I was denoting about how like I'm changing my, the trajectory of my business a little bit to get more into doing this, course creation and operating a community, opposed to delegating and segregating so much of my time to one-on-one clients. Like, I feel like I can leverage the impact through community by not only just connecting people to to me, but connecting people not like to other people experiencing the same things. Kindred spirits, stuff like that. Like I really thrive in community and I love networking. So like I'm really going all in on Growth Gang for 2025. I'm going to expand on Growth Talk and make it more of a full podcast where I have guests on and stuff like that. So that's going to be pretty interesting. But that's why I chose to make the topic around making decisions today, because like I'm currently at a fork in the road and being faced with a decision. So it didn't flow the way that I wanted it to, but honestly, like there's beauty in that. There's beauty in the perseverance and getting it done anyways. Like there truly is. Like I'm sure my ego would have rather just packed it up and went home because I'm not firing on every cylinder like I'd like to be, or when I had a brain fart talking that like I just want to get up and stop the camera or start over again or whatever. Fuck all that, honestly. It's a decision that I've made that like I'm going to be more vulnerable, more authentic, and show more of my true self to you guys. So if I'm actually going through it while I'm here and just not portraying some picture perfect image, I think it's actually going to be of more service and more valuable to people that actually listen to these. So that's another growth talk. Today we covered decision making, more importantly making effective and efficient decisions. I hope that I covered the information. The people that submitted the Q&As, I hope that it was asked and answered. I look forward to getting into a better place of flow where the conversation doesn't necessarily feel so painful. But just a lot of personal stuff going on, and like the not doing this so much, like being on the 4-month hiatus of not doing the growth talks definitely contributes to it. But there's a lot going on in the background with me in my own life and stuff. So like it's hard to really, like, this is almost meditative. Like I've really got to center myself here. Like if I start thinking about where I'm supposed to be in 2 hours, or if I answered this email, or if I did a client check-in that I was supposed to, like, if my brain is going all over those fucking places, like, there's no way that I can center myself in this. So, like, it almost becomes meditative. So, like, I really like that. And I love forcing myself to do the things that I do not like to do, but I know deep in my heart are for the better, and for the whole, and for the fulfillment of what it is that I'm pursuing. So that was making decisions effectively and efficiently. I appreciate you guys coming along. And I'll be doing another one tomorrow. Watch out for the Instagram stories if you want to know tomorrow's topic and you want to contribute a question that I can answer for you. Go and follow me on Instagram at I am Coach Dash. Single I at the beginning for my backup account. The main account has 2 I's. IAMCOACHDASH. And until next time, let's grow together.